excavation into ESEA Intermediate we go, and it's going to be Undesired Prophecy versus Buff Babies here. Now, Buff Babies, I just have to say, based off of their name, is probably the winner in my book here, but it's how they perform in game that really matters, and Buff Babies already get off to a good start doing it. Win that knife round, and we'll be able to choose the side of their choice. And hey, Lusa, thank you for following, though. I really do appreciate it. But let's just go ahead and hop right into these things. Or this match, excuse me, and the thing to note, I really should say, heading into this match is that both of these teams are 3-3 in Intermediate at the moment here. So one of these teams will go home. I mean, I guess they already are playing from home most likely, but one of these teams will unfortunately have to bear the negative record award around their neck. And one of them will go away with a positive one. Hey, Nubich, welcome back, my dude. Haven't done any vocal warm-ups today, but all of these players surely are going to be warmed up here. Nabil is going to be first face here. Spots someone actually pushing straight into window. A2G manages to dome one, and JRAD with another. Nyx just practically walks into the crosshairs, and Nyx, I'm just going to call him Nick and then Nyx. That's what I've decided to go with here. Anyway, bomb is planted. Undesired Prophecy now have to play against the CTs here. No kits are in play, though, so it becomes a little more difficult for them to try to retake, and especially made harder as Nyx is able to pick up a single kill. Unfortunately, the double isn't there, and unfortunately, despite the best efforts of the T side, won't be able to defend the bomb against the inevitable wave of baby that's coming in towards the A site. As they're able to overwhelm through CT and end up taking the site right back. You're watching Hecko's team? Oh, Hiko? Hiko's team. Yeah, I actually have no idea how they've been doing this qualifier. I'm kind of curious. Now, right back into the action we go. Buff Babies now up 1-0 after a pretty nice post plant that they dealt with. He's kind of able to overwhelm the bomb here. Undesired Prophecy will now bring Deagles to the table. Bunch of upgraded pistols. No armor to speak of here as they quickly just want to burst their way up towards Catwalk here. Nick is going to find, and the second. I didn't even have time to finish saying my first sentence, and he already finds another kill here. Nyx now is going to be pushing up to the B site all by his lonesome here. Loses the duel with an MP9, 3-on-3. It's a little bit of a bloody mess, but I think Buff Babies might have just outlasted the T's. The last two remaining are relatively low on health at the moment here, and Stigma falls alongside our boy CJ at the exact same time. So it was looking pretty crazy for a second there. But I think Buff Babies have managed to weather the storm. Undesired Prophecy, it was really a good heads-up play by them to try to force up those pistols and get that mid-presence super early on. A lot of teams on CT side can be a little bit afraid of trying to get, of getting that mid-presence, I should say. So, good improvement from Undesired Prophecy. Unfortunately, he didn't give them the round they needed, and unfortunately, that is not going to be the kill that Seabass needed either. JRAD goes massive and picks up 2 over towards Cat. Also picking up Nyx as well. And hey, Nubage, martial arts, huh? That's kind of a flex. I like it. Speaking of flex, JRAD is just flexing on them at the moment. He's picked up 3 in the round. He wants to make it 4 as well. I mean, he's done a really good job. This is the first gun round of Undesired Prophecy. The fact that they're losing this in as dominant of a fashion as they are is just not exactly a good sign for times to come here. Buff Babies go out flawlessly. They don't lose a single player, and the only person who's even tagged down a little bit is A2G. Definitely getting off to the start that they want, but there's still plenty of time left in the game. It's still very early on here. Unfortunately, the Undesired Prophecy are going to be forced up onto those pistols for the time being. 4 CZs. And a Desert Eagle to their name here. Early smoke over towards B. So it looks like they're just trying to get bomb down at the moment here. And why is the bomb stuck on this nade cam? I can't move out of this nade cam. Observer, hello? I would love to see what's going on, but it won't get off of this smoke. It's it's stuck on the smoke. I've never had that happen. That's so frustrating. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right back into the action here. Buff Babies, they only drop a single player in the midst of things there. It's kind of the expected result, excuse me. But Undesired Prophecy, unfortunately, still unable to thread the needle and get that first round on the board here. But that was an eco. Now, the next challenge is having to go up against a gun round of Buff Babies here because they have brought everything to the table of their own here. 3 Kriegs and a single AWP, of which Seabass is struggling to make the shots connect. J-Rat continues his domination, 7-2 at the moment, and has no signs of stopping. A lightning storm of flashes coming out over towards A. Sanzo searches for a little bit of action over towards Catwalk, but nothing given just yet. Execute makes its way out over towards A, and Stigma will be there to deal with the push. However, it just seems that Undesired Prophecy are able to run away with this one here. Picks up 2 frags just like that. I didn't even see them. And now we enter a post point here where J-Rat's still in a perfect position as always, picks up another one. But now from here, the T's are kind of, they have a little bit of a question mark sort of positioning here. Trades on through. Again, J-Rat going massive, but it's Nabil left to do it versus 2 here and has no chance of it whatsoever. So Undesired Prophecy finally pick up their first in the game. Nubis says, why would he repeat that? Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea. I would imagine it's because Seabass didn't expect a repeat from the CT or something like that. It's strange to look at, but it happens from time to time. No matter the result, though, Undesired Prophecy are able to get that first round on the board here, so they're looking good to go ahead and try to put another one together here, but Buff Babies will strike right back and take down, or excuse me, tag down Nyx to a very dangerously low amount of health, and Nyx will deliver despite what he's given here. Nick, as well, is able to pick up. So the boys named Nick step up massively so far in the round here. Resmoke comes through over towards jungle. It's not the prettiest one in the world, but it gets the job done. Retake in through CT doesn't seem to be on the cards, as Santo is able to kind of find out a nice little tricky one-way position through that smoke into CT and take down Gint's teammate. Now it's Nabil alongside him, just choosing to save their guns. I did watch Blast Pros. Actually, a really nice tournament. I loved it a lot. Oh, and Undesired Prophecy has to be loving those ecos a lot. Just demolishing everything that Buff Babies have really been trying to work towards here. And the fact that they made it relatively competitive so far with Buff Babies is a really good sign for the coming rounds, because now they don't only have that one gun to really play around here with. It becomes considerably harder for Prophecy to deal with. Nabil and Co. will just be going for, again, a couple of upgrade pistols. It's something that we've seen Undesired Prophecy actually have to do twice this match. Now Buff Babies get a taste of their own medicine. The only player to find a kill so far is actually Stigma, who manages to tag Nick through the smoke. It seemed like, at least from what I saw from my POV. Bursting out over towards B, Undesired Prophecy are now searching for another kill in. However, Gint, alongside with that M4, excuse me, is able to find another one as well, and Stigma has managed to get into the picture with a Krieg, and suddenly this is all falling apart for Undesired Prophecy. It's going to be CJ left alone to his own devices, but he's looking the wrong direction and unfortunately is unable to deal with just being swarmed by a bunch of different members of the CT side. It's not the prettiest look in the world, but it's something they're going to have to take, unfortunately, as they go down another round, another peg, and Buff Babies improve to 5 on the CT half. Which says even the Ice series was good. I actually really liked Ice as well. I think that was just so much fun to watch. So many, good storylines like the Ents versus OG. J-Rad still on fire as ever, is topping the scoreboard at 10-5. Seabass, unfortunately, the other Opper, has been kind of struggling yet to find a kill in this game. But the night is still young. Still plenty of Counter-Strike to be played. So who's to say he won't pop off sooner rather than later. Not a ton of utility. Seabass continues a flawed streak, and A2G is able to pick up another, finally some response from the T side, as Nick as well as Sansa were able to find a flurry of frags up onto the A bomb site. Now it's a 3 versus 2 and striking right back. Undesired Prophecy, I wasn't exactly favoring them after that initial 5 versus 3, but they're doing perfectly and looking flawless otherwise. This isn't the desired Prophecy for Buff Babies, it seems. J-Rad is able to find a kill in return. It's a 1 versus 2, so this is a winnable situation from him. However, there is no kit in play. The only kit is a bit of a trek all the way towards Under Palace, and he realizes it might be too tall of an order, and he's just going to go ahead and choose to save the sniper for the round coming here, because the money isn't going to look fantastic for Buff Babies here. In fact, it's going to look pretty poor. You'll have 3 members who are most likely going to be able to force up a FAMAS, but with J-Rad and Gint, actually make that only Gint. Most likely just going to have to go with a Deagle. So they will be able to put together a buy. It's not going to be the craziest, but still going to be giving them enough artillery to go to war with. It may actually decide against it entirely here. You see that Buff Babies are just going for fully upgrade pistols here instead of trying to bring a FAMAS to the table. They're not even using that much utility as well, so this is a bit of an interesting call, but I guess they just really want to get a very healthy buy on through and hope that Undesired Prophecy just end up faltering in this round here. Double smokes comes through. Gint immediately falls. Nabil has a chance to go massive, but he only finds 1. And now this becomes a tougher and tougher situation as time goes by for Buff Babies. Another kill walks into the crosshairs of Stigma, but he's not expecting the player towards Cat. Nyx is able to nick Stigma out of the round and nipped right in the bud. Will be Undesired Prophecy keeping things competitive so far. It's now going to be 5-4 here unless A2G gets away with something absolutely disgusting, but it's not looking very likely. But this was kind of the expected result again. It's not a round that you're going to have Buff Babies winning 9 times out of 10. The fact that they even managed to get 2 kills is not too bad, all things considered. However, that AWP that fell out of the hands of J-Rad is undeniably a pretty big blow. Oh, that was actually a nice little dink onto Seabass, I believe it was. He has not been having the hottest start to this game. 20 ADR, a single kill, and 9 deaths. So, I mean, the fact that the game is as competitive as it is not too bad. Buff Babies with another force up. Bunch of pistols. And a little bit of utility here. I don't expect anything crazy. It just looks like Buff Babies are just waiting for Undesired to just walk into their crosshairs here. And it's working to a pretty good extent. Stigma is able to pick up a double kill and actually retrieve a Krieg before eventually falling. And nade down right into Nabil's souls. Unfortunately, tags him down to 62, so he's not exactly looking healthy. He's bleeding internally just a little bit. Seabass might get caught off guard, though. Only 0 bullets. He only had 4 to start with, but luckily reloads. So he's going to avoid the certain death that was awaiting him, but he can't look away at the wrong time now, and luckily the 5-7 is this one absolute menace. And just from there on out, Undesired Prophecy aren't able to find any exit kill, or excuse me, Buff Babies aren't able to find any exit kills on their way out from that one here, and Buff Babies finally will be able to put together another round. Or, excuse me, another gun round, I should say. My goodness, I'm stuttering over myself so much. I think ENCE did come very last in Ice. And, yeah, I don't think they won a single game here. It's been rough. But that's what happens when you get rid of your IGL, right? You figured FaZe would have learned by now, but hey. Nyx, what is your plan over towards Connector here? He's watching for an initial peek from A2G. You notice that Buff Babies have actually brought out the double sniper setup here. And with Cat cleared, this does give a lot of room for Undesired Prophecy to take this wherever they like here. They only have 1 player, their anchor and Gint, waiting on B. But Undesired Prophecy with an even, now made uneven scenario thanks to A2G's lovely AWP shot onto CJ. It becomes a little bit of a tougher and taller task for Undesired Prophecy to fulfill. Utility is kind of lacking for them, but luckily the kills aren't. Sanzo, they're able to pick up 1, not the second though. The AWP is good for the refrag through, avenges their teammate. It's still a 2-on-2 though, and this most definitely does favor Undesired Prophecy at the moment, because they're going to be able to get the plant that they want here and be able to get into comfortable positions before the rotates from Buff Babies is truly able to come through. J-Rad is definitely the man to keep an eye on in this retake here. Although Stigma does have the kit in play, he'll most likely be the one watching for anything to go awry. Plus, he's been on point this entire game. Who's to say that he can't step up? And it seems to be Nyx. He just picks up a double, sprays them both down, and Undesired Prophecy are able to take the lead right off of it. A gorgeous double at the end of things. Sprayed right down with the Krieg. No chance at all. FaZe played amazing at Blast. Yeah, I know. It was actually so much fun to watch them. That Dust 2 game versus Liquid, the second time they played was unreal. Looks like a pick towards mid is on the cards here. J-Rad, yeah, he was fully blinded, didn't exactly have the highest hopes. ATG is getting some work done with that CZ75, and I feel like A-Ramp has just been so free for Buff Babies for the most part. A refrag comes through, and CJ falls alongside it. But Buff Babies do have the lead at the moment. Map control does definitely favor Undesired Prophecy for the time being, though. They can take this wherever they want here. And if they play it slow, they could most likely just outlast Buff Babies. All quiet on the western front, rotating their M through B apartments slowly here. CJ is just going to sit up for a nice little smoke over towards Cat, I believe it'll be. I have to be careful. I don't want to do that bug again, but I'm pretty sure it's going over towards Cat. Speaking of which, there will be a player waiting right over there in the form of Nabil. The player to watch on Buff Babies unfortunately falls with a pistol in hand, and it's a 2-on-3. So made competitive as ever, but Buff Babies, I think, have juiced out as much as they possibly can from the last of this round here, and will just choose to save their SGs that they've managed to gather from the bodies of Nick and Nyx. If that's not confusing, I don't know what is. Very aggressive spots to hold these exits as well. They have a lot of hope. But I'm not really feeling it. It looks like Undesired Prophecy all want to be exiting through market here. It's their safest escape. Stigma might be able to catch one player off guard, but surely he's not going to be able to get more than that. Doesn't seem meant to be. The Buff Babies will save their Kriegs, but that's pretty much all that they have heading into this next one here. Because they're going to have to start right back to square one and buy up all their guns yet again. All their utility yet again. Oh, sorry, Noobage. Wasn't looking at the chat. I think it was 16-3 or... Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was 16-3. It was unbelievable. Just like, even at the very end of things, Liquid were just starting to laugh. But who's laughing now? Undesired Prophecy have put together, I think it's something like 7 rounds in a row, it feels like. Sure, Buff Babies haven't exactly had the strongest economy in the world, but they really have been fighting for this tooth and nail and been doing a great job at it. Sanso, peeking up towards Cat slowly, actually manages to put himself in a pretty secure location over in ladder room, but surely it's going to get punished by A2G. However, the punishment isn't quite enough to ward off the man that's just breathing down his neck. J-Rad is also taken out of the picture. The big scary man for Buff Baby so far has no chance, no life just yet here, and Sanzo might just be able to get a little bit of miss KZ from Stigma, but he'll go ahead and try to recover. Over towards Connector this time around here. Walks straight into the crosshair. Stigma takes down one, but he's left all by his lonesome versus 3 members, and they know exactly where he is as well. It's just basically a free round for Undesired Prophecy, as he only dropped 2 players. And it's looking better and better. Starting to look like a well-oiled machine at this rate. They had a bit of a rough start. I think anybody could say that, but they strike right back, and Buff Babies again are going to be stuck on pistols. Their economy has just been in shambles. However, Buff Babies, one of the few things that have been going good for them is having this A-ramp control. If A2G can pull up massively, that would mean big things for the CT side here. It's not looking very likely. Unfortunately, A2G falls. J-Rad can't quite hit the deagle shots either. And Stigma, with the only gun in play here that saved M4, is going to be able to find off one. So catching Undesired Prophecy a little bit off guard, but they still have almost every advantage in the book. Bomb down, plenty of utility, strong post-plant positions. I mean, it can't get much better than this for the T side here. It's a 4-on-4 as we enter the retake, but it's not looking very likely for the Babies. Couple of shots traded. J-Rad, unfortunately, isn't on the favored side of that duel. Stigma is a big man on campus with that M4 in hand, but even he isn't able to find the duels that he's really hoping for. Finally finds one. Takes down Sanzo, and Gint is actually able to find another, but the bomb is so far ticked at this point here where they're really going to have to stick it immediately. Time is not in their favor. Sure, the kills were, but that is it. Buff Babies have to give up the round. Although they just siphoned all these kills, it was just so depressing at the end of the day for Undesired Prophecy. The fact that they managed to gather that round in the end just by playing really passive worked out in their favor. That's exactly why I have everybody in matchmaking say, hey, play passive, play passive. It's because of things like this. Nubage saying he was talking to Vince today. I love Vince, one of the best casters out there. And yes, I know you had to contact ESL. Unfortunately, there's no more open slots, so I'm not going to be able to cast a qualifier as well. However, the final blow will come through, and Buff Babies just strike right back. Once they're able to get guns on the table here, try to force out B here. It's not looking very good for Undesired Prophecy. They siphon 3 players down, are just going to be able to get that bomb down, but it's not looking very likely. As soon as that smoke dissipates, so will the fates of Undesired Prophecy here, and J-Rad strikes right back. His op is unbelievable. Does massive work for his team as they're able to pick up another one. So it's a 9-6 at halftime. Not the strongest score line in the world for either side, really. But you definitely do have to favor Undesired Prophecy as they're heading into the second half here. Sure, I'm a little bit biased. But, I mean, at the same time, it's kind of hard to not see why. Coming off the T side, 9 rounds put together. Now we'll be moving on to the statistically favored half in the CT side. I mean, it's a promising start. But yeah, Noob, it's really frustrating. I didn't even realize there was an application process until it was almost too late. So maybe next time. I would love, love, love to get on some of those qualifier games. But at the same time, I'm happy with what I got. Single player in Sanzo shifted over towards B at the moment, but Buff Babies are actually trying to bring the fight over towards mid through connector at the point right now, trying to do their best food impression. Over on the site, we'll see Nick and Nyx both waiting and actually able to get 2 free frags. Nyx is going massive over towards Sandwich as he's able to find a triple. Can he make it 4? Unfortunately, no. The shots quite aren't there, but they sure as hell are for CJ as he cleans up the remaining 2. And it's just a dynamic duo, the 2 of them. A little bit of a TK coming through from Nick. Not exactly sure what that was for, but hey. Nubage, these are 2 intermediate teams. It's not the highest level of Counter-Strike here, but I want to support my boy Nick, who wasn't even the big hero of that round, but he's still doing massive work for his team. 13 and 11 at the moment. Kill differential is looking relatively even for Undesired Prophecy at the moment. Sure, Seabass is lagging behind a little bit, but I believe he is the IGL of this team. I could be wrong on that. I don't exactly know this roster too much, but whatever he's saying might be doing perfectly well, and this Eco is just ambushed over towards mid. Stigma finally gets a kill in return, but he's stuck with a FAMAS, and still not exactly the highest hopes. 1 on 3. Very tall order here. Here's a player coming through apartments here, so he has to have a little bit of forewarning. Undesired Prophecy, meanwhile, have no clue on where Stigma is, so maybe he could get the jump on just one player here, but he fires a shot, and that is the last shot that he hears. It's a shot heard around the world, perhaps, as now things are starting to look a little scary for Buff Babies. This is a gun round they absolutely have to win, because if Undesired win this one, then they'll be up to 12, and from there, Buff Babies will most likely have to save again, so we have 13, and then you're starting to stare down the barrel of having to put together a very massive comeback. This is still very much redeemable. I mean, this could still swing either way at this point here, but it seems that Undesired Prophecy are looking to put it back in their favor here. The first fight doesn't go their way, but the second one does. A third fight actually coming through, and Seabass has no chance at it. Sanzo will just go ahead and try to retreat with his life over onto the A site, where meanwhile, Nick, the man of the hour, shines and gets a kill onto Stigma, so we're back into an even scenario. A little bit of spam coming through connector as they're all pushing up. CJ is going to have to hold down the fort over at B. It's not looking very likely, but perhaps if he can find this first kill, there's a little bit of a chance for these rotates to come through. Doesn't seem to be the case, though, but Sanzo's delivering in spades. Gets a wonderful wallbang headshot spray onto Gint, and now it's J-Rad, the other big hero of this game. He strikes right back and picks up a double. It's a 1-on-2. I said he was going to be a hero, but I just didn't expect him to find them that quickly. Unbelievable play from him, and he keeps his team alive in this. By the skin of their teeth, Buff Baby stay alive, and in this game, 7-11. Pause will be called. Nubage, I believe Blue is actually going to... He's on Rainbow Six Siege at the moment. And I think he actually works with ESL for Rainbow Six, so I wouldn't say they screwed him over. Hey, the gaming animator, what's up, dude? And also, I mean, maybe I could get in touch with Richard Lewis. I don't know what he'd want me on there for, but he's a fantastic journalist. But what's up, gaming animator? How you doing? Looks like there's just a little bit of a tactical pause coming through for the time being, as we stare down the barrel of 11 to 7. Buff Babies find a little bit of life yet off the back of that wonderful clutch from J-Rad. He has seriously just been lighting it up in the server at the moment. 19-13, but it feels like he's been even more dominant. Up towards Cat, Sansa just tries to delay the inevitable by tossing down a smoke. The nade is missed though, and oh, it's not looking very promising from him. An ambush of CTs, a conga line perhaps you could say, and despite the heroics of CJ, it's not quite enough to stave off the push from Buff Babies. They make their way onto the site, and they'll improve with a bomb plant. It's not exactly the most favored post plant. It's not exactly looking meant to be either. Buff Babies realize it, will improve to 8. So the round differential is closing further and further, and that is just what is so strong about having that momentum built up. If you can win that first gun round, even if it was off the back of a 1 versus 2 clutch, it's so important. Maybe I should reach out to him, Richard Lewis, or Noobage, I should say. I don't really know what he'd want me to do for him, really, to kind of get my name out. And yes, I do play a lot of CSGO. I love CSGO. My main game. I'm not very good at it. I'm only like LE, but, you know. I used to be much better. I used to peak global in like 2015 or 2016. I used to be better at this game. Back to the game at hand. Let's actually focus on what I'm, getting paid to do here. Feel like a slouch, but Undesired Prophecy are perfectly fine sitting on their laurels. 4 players stacked over towards B with only Seabass to speak of over at the A-bomb site. And he has a whole storm coming here. Buff Babies execute fully onto the A site. I'm not sure if they're expecting guns or what they were expecting, but this kind of feels a little bit overkill because they could just easily contact up towards A. Seabass in this one-way smoke. I think Gint is onto him, though, and yeah, watching perfectly. Rotates come through towards CT, and I mean, they're just going to be walking into pistols at this point here, but it's a nice cleanup from Stigma. Picks up 2. But I think it's all done and dusted. It's all she wrote. No more kills the way of Undesired Prophecy. They make it a little bit expensive for Buff Babies, but overall it was done perfectly to a T, and Buff Babies are able to make it to 9 now, so nearly onto double digits. Gaming Animator, when I started out, I think I was Silver 4. That was my first rank. I just kind of slowly climbed my way back up. I love Counter-Strike, though. Noobage, maybe I will give him a shot. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Interesting setup from Undesired Prophecy here. You see that they've committed actually 2 players over towards Connector. Nyx, slowly burning alive, will be able to get away. He's actually gone out undetected, so he can even go back in for a second chance if he wants to have a shot at trying to sting Buff Babies in the behind here. However, it's not looking very likely. Finally, Seabass is able to find the first blood for CTs at the moment, but the Babies are just running over them right now. They toddle into the site, and the T's are looking incredible. CJ, excuse me, is going to be stuck against 4 members of the Buff Babies. We'll have 1 free kill granted to him, but now his location's given away, and he's not ready for the second member, the baby. Nabil just cleans it up. No problem for him. Now 11 to 10. That insurmountable lead that Undesired Prophecy worked so hard to put together has almost gotten completely obliterated. Now only 1 round separates the 2 from an even game. Undesired Prophecy this time are going for another stack. This time it's going to be on the A site, though. Surely Buff Babies are going to be onto this one, though, because if they not, they're going to get 1 strong warning sent to them here. Finally, Sigma responds with 1, but not without 2 teammates falling in the midst of things. And I mean, Buff Babies don't have the bomb in their hand just yet. Undesired Prophecy don't exactly have the map control to really capitalize upon it. Buff Babies will retrieve the bomb back into their hands, and they can take this wherever they like for the time being. Our next big issue is trying to dedicate to his site here. Good shots from Stigma as he picks up a double with the spray down. Now Nyx and Nick. Again, very confusing names. Left to try to strangle this round back into their favor. It's not at all likely. J-Rad picks up one with his Krieg. 1 versus 3. Nyx just tries to save the gun. Gaming animator? I mean, hey, I could. Probably not tonight, though. I'm a little bit busy, but, I mean, hey, it would be fun. Aw, Nick, don't apologize, man. You're wonderful. But he has to feel a little bit sad because, again, Undesired Prophecy will still be stuck on 11. And Buff Babies are just breathing down their neck. Have put together, I mean, quite a few back-to-back dominating rounds. And keep in mind, this all started because of J-Rad's insane 1 versus 2. If he didn't get that off, we could see a very different game on our hands right now. It's a bitter feeling for sure. Undesired Prophecy are going to go ahead and force up all their guns to the table. Give it another shot. Now that they're under the light once more. Buff Babies. Looks like they're looking for a little bit of mid-aggression. As smoke comes out towards Catwalk. And yeah, look at this. 3 players dedicated. One of my favorite strats here. I love when people push up mid here. And Stigma might not have exactly the forewarning on what's going on here. But will Nyx? Oh no, he just took down his own teammate. Took down Sanzo. And this could actually swing it back to a terrible scenario now for Buff Babies. As they're stealing this one away. Off the back of that TK. The mid-aggression was such a good start. They had all the advantages to speak of. But it just got all whittled away in just a couple of seconds. And suddenly, CJ has no chance of this one. Buff Babies take back the lead. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Richard Lewis used to do Silvercast. How do I not remember that? I don't remember that at all. I would love to see some of those. I don't know. It'd be so much fun to, stay in touch with Richard Lewis. Who knows? Maybe it's meant to be. Maybe it's not. A bit of aggression over towards ramp at the moment here. You see Undesired Prophecy are just going for some of this aggression more and more every single round. It's working out to varying degrees of success. This is one of the times where it seems to be working out awfully well for them, as Seabass and Nick are both able to find kills. However, Nabil is still in the picture as well. They haven't accounted for that part of the equation just yet, nor have they accounted for the A2G factor, who's able to pick up a double. Striking right back. You can never count the Babies out of this one here because, man, they're looking swole. They are looking buff at the moment. It's truly staying true to their name here. CJ has a good shot to take care of the bomb planter. Oh, they walk right into his crosshairs, but J-Rad spots it at just the right time. And suddenly, now things look very dire for Undesired Prophecy. They had a good shot. They really did, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of starting to look rough as this retake begins. CJ struggles to hit the shots here, and J-Rad just wants to close it out. Right here, not right now. Apparently, though, Nick wide swings through, but A2G is just a little bit quicker on the trigger as the Babies improved to 13. And it was looking so good for Undesired Prophecy again with that early aggression that they had, making it a 5 versus 3, but A2G... Why do I even bother trying to count him out? A triple in the round, and he can do even better here. He's tied with a bottom frag on his team, which is so insane to think because he's been doing incredible. Shot over towards mid. Seabass takes down Gint. No refrag, so Buff Babies will have to take this L for the time being. 4 on 5. Buff Babies are looking good. Or excuse me, Undesired Prophecy are looking good. I guess I'm just so used to saying it the other way around because of this incredible streak that the T side has gotten together, but maybe they're starting to have a little bit of hiccups in their play. Right now, they need to desperately try to even things up here. It looks like they're setting for an A execute though, and this just might be the right play because Stigma Though he might be walking to the crosshairs of Seabass. They actually are, but they don't manage to convert the kill. Moving on to A right now, there's a player waiting in sandwich in the form of Nick, who's able to find one before he eventually burns alive. Excuse me, it's Nyx. And J-Rad, no chance in the 1 versus 4, just like he managed to clutch out that 1 versus 2. Apparently, when you have double the CTs to worry about, it becomes a bit tougher. And Undesired Prophecy keep things competitive. Now it's 12-13. Another gun round in play from Buff Baby Zoe, but it's also the same scenario from Undesired Prophecy. You notice that Seabass, he just misses Molotov? Didn't that happen with a pro recently? I swear I just saw that on Reddit. I can't remember what it was, but that happens. That's a tough Molotov. It's there to dissipate a smoke early. And speaking of smokes, peeking right out on top of one, Sanzo picks off J-Rad immediately. And J-Rad has been the scariest member, not only like on his team, but in the server as well. He's leading the scoreboard 24-19, I believe it is. 24-16, so even better. So having him out of the picture is very, very big. Gint strikes right back, though. Watches for any CT aggression. I'm surprised Nyx actually decided to push through T-spawn on that one. He has got his head blown off here, and that lead that Undesired Prophecy had going for them has just disappeared. Missed first jump, Sanzo will go ahead and toss his way over towards mid, and finally Nick will respond with a kill. But now CTs can just sit on their laurels. In fact, they should. Oh, Stigma, he has the right idea. That Molotov goes through, but the shot is just a little bit off, and he gets punished for his trouble for that missed shot. And Sanzo doesn't miss either. The marksman with 3. He wants to make it number 4 here, and he'll just completely finish him up, chomp down on Gint. And even the, even the score between the two, you can't get much closer than that. I don't know. I disagree with that one. I feel like aim is important in some sense. Yeah, go ahead and post a link, Noobage. I don't think it'll time you out, but go ahead. Well, see, Venoman, isn't pre-aiming technically aiming? Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how you want to think of it. Buff Babies think highly of themselves in this round. They buy up everything they possibly can, run through Molotovs just to run into a potential meat grinder of Undesired Prophecy. Moving out onto the site, they actually managed to find 2 kills. How have Buff Babies managed to get out almost unscathed? Sure, they take a heavy amount of damage. They're all actually very weak. But this is still a very good result for the Buff Babies so far. They could have a chance to steal away this round. Basically, Undesired Prophecy are going to have to deal with a bunch of landmines as they enter into the site slowly but surely. They're going to have to check every angle, but time is not in their favor. ATG is able to improve with another kill to his name, and oh my lord, Buff Babies just might have gotten away with it. Seabass desperately trying to get away with his sniper, but it's not going to be allowed. Buff Babies, I know why they had very high hopes for themselves. Because 13-14 is now in play, and Buff Babies managed to win that round with 2 rifles and 3 upgraded pistols. That is unbelievable. Stolen away. Oh, Venoman sees it as more as like flicking and stuff. Okay, no, that's understandable. I can see that. Flicking still has its choice times, but I agree it's not as important as many people make it out to be. A2G with a first and Nabil with a second. I mean, before I even have time to react to read to the chat, Buff Babies are already out storming onto the A site, and suddenly it's a 1 versus 5. It's a slaughter. It's an absolute slaughter. I barely have time to even think before Buff Babies just steamroll over Undesired Prophecy to make it to 15, on to match point, and looking to improve their record in ESEA Intermediate to 4-3. Again, it's important to keep in mind that both these teams have really been struggling in the season so far, and right now, Undesired Prophecy, they seem a little bit lost. Seabass has not exactly been having the hottest game as he repeaks, not once, but he's thinking about doing it twice here. As the first shot comes through, J-Rad manages to avoid certain death for the time being. However, it's not the same story for Nyx, who falls over towards Underpass. A player down. And not a very promising situation for Buff Babies. Smoke dissipates. Stigma's ready. Finds another head. Now it's a 3-on-5. It's looking better and better for Buff Babies. And they just want to win out from here. Rotates will come through, none of which are perfectly good for another kill of their sorts here. And this is beginning to look like the end of the line here. Almost no duels are going to favor of Undesired Prophecy before Sanzo gets in the picture. But Bomb is already planted at B. And what can Undesired Prophecy even do at this point here? They have no kits in play and only one more member left. It's Sanzo. He's been incredible this game, but not incredible enough apparently. Buff Babies are able to take that one away, and I mean, they have the name to match that performance because they are just strong manning themselves. Just, have this iron grip over Undesired Prophecy as they're able to steal away the game and win it 16-13. So it's a good attempt from Undesired Prophecy. However, it isn't quite good enough to net them the win in the end. So they will actually go down a peg, 3-4 in the season so far. But there's still life for them yet. Don't get me wrong. Noobage, I will have another game coming up in just a couple of minutes. Make sure to check my Twitter. I always keep it updated with what's going on. It's below if you want to give it a look. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and toss it to a quick break before we head into the second game of the night, which is going to be Rise Esports Club versus Buff Daddy's PayPal team. Both of these teams are actually undefeated in ESEA Advanced at the moment. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to some music. Very big props, though, to Undesired Prophecy for bringing everything they can to the table. It's looking very promising for them for such a good amount of time. Unfortunately, as I mentioned many times before, weren't quite able to thread the needle and get that round and that game win in the end. I'm going to go ahead and get all my overlays ready. I'll be back very, very soon. Thank you guys all for watching. Feel free to drop a Twitch Prime or something like that. Any subscribers would really help so I can share some more emotes and not have them locked behind that tier 2 and tier 3 barrier. If you choose not to, that's also fine. I'm just trying to live here. Anyway, see you in a little while.